Well, good afternoon, everybody. Time to wrap this baby up. The E-mini came off its lows, pretty much was straight up off of its lows at 60.5, have had very, very little in the way of retracement. On our last update, we said the market was probably going to trade to new highs, but as long as we stay below 82.50, we're in our trading range. So my feeling is we close this thing below 82.50, we're at the top of a trading range, and the news has to change to break this thing out to the upside. The ISM services number was a good number today, higher than forecast, but they lost employment in that. And again, I point that out because what our economy needs is jobs. And if we were putting people back to work, a lot of the problems that we talk about regularly would not be problems. The Fed wouldn't be trying to support the real estate market by keeping interest rates where they are now. People would be able to get out and afford and buy them. Our economy would be running on more than two cylinders, energy and transportation, automobile manufacturer right now. So again, I think it takes a piece of news to break us out and take us to new highs. Now, having said that, the cash indexes have already made new highs this year. So when cash is pulling futures up with it, you're dealing with a negative sentiment. If futures are leading cash, you're dealing with a bullish sentiment. So remember that. So we've got, based on Friday's activity, we've got a lower high and a lower low, even though this market rallied all day long. It's okay to sell failure to take out today's high or the Globex high overnight. Looking at the F2 screen, definitely a P, so there's going to be conflict right here. We're not going to have the screens in agreement. Dealing with a very, very strong P. And you'll see when we look at the F2 screen that we are at resistance. Have to tell you, Reg, even though it's hot, much hotter than normal for this time of the year, to the tune of at least 20 degrees, it doesn't feel bad to walk outside and feel the warmth after the winter we've had. Nothing like your Canadian winters, but you make sure that we don't escape unscathed either by pumping that air south. But feels pretty good to get out there in the 90-degree weather. But I do have air conditioning, so it's not the end of the world. This move that started down, that took us down to 1860.50, came out of this high volume area here, out of basically 1879. L period, we did rotate up. We can do a L split because it broke it out. So I said as long as we stayed above that 73 area, this market could trade higher, and so we have a low of 73.25. J period, we have a low of 74.25, and K period, we had a low of 75.75. So the market is trying to trade up. So resistance is basically 80, and we've got our 85, 87, and then we've got the contract highs of 90, 92. So this is 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to make our first sell 80 to 82. We're going to make our second sell 85 to 87. Tomorrow's news is trade balance. It's not major news. Probably look to news out of Ukraine and Russia. And if the fighting escalates, then that could impact equities, certainly would impact crude. On the buy side, the last rotate down was 73.25, so we're back in our same situation. We're going to pay 75s for it, or we're going to be able to buy a little bit cheaper. So for the night session only, 73.75 is buy 1, See if we can't push it. And then if we bust that 73 area, we'll make 70 for buy 2 for the night session only. And that's it for the E-mini. One of the things I want you to think about and put in perspective is that if you're in a quandary in the morning and you really don't know higher or lower sideways, if you can't make the call, if it's not obvious to you, it's not obvious to other people. Now, we don't have enough confidence to take that information and run with it, but as you develop over time, that's what you're looking to do. You're looking to take that kind of information, that assessment. Just when you're trying to come up with higher, lower, or sideways, mark it down, keep your trading journal, your thoughts about the market, and over time, when you go back and review it at the end of the day, you say, hey, I was right about that. And that, over time, will give you the confidence to trade that information yourself. That's what we're trying to develop here. Okay, we stopped at resistance, and we're down here at possible support, this 12 to 16 area. Tomorrow's the 3-year auction. There's no news. The 2- and 3-year auctions are usually pretty good ones, so I want to buy into weakness. I'm not sure we can extend or take out the range tomorrow, but that's a possibility, depending on what goes on in the E-mini. So want to buy weakness first, see if we can take out resistance, and if we can't take out resistance, then we're going to trade from the short side. Pretty simple. We're looking at a double distribution down. First time into resistance, we can trade it. So this basically 20 to 24 area, selling failure right there, is a pretty good trade. And then 27 to 31, where we started out this morning. The spill was from 24.5. The last rotate up is 22. These single prints, so if we get halfway into that, that puts us into the 23 area. So that's selling the upper end, 23, 24. Looks like a reasonable trade. Now, we've got a breakout right here at 13. We've got a breakout down here at basically 9. So the buy is also pretty aggressive. So, but you can see this 13 number comes in twice. So we'd like to buy closer to 13 than the 17. So we'll make this buy 1, and then 5 to 9 will be buy 2. And we'll see what happens. The 17 number is really, really aggressive. I think for us to have to pay 17s, we're going to see some selling in the E-mini. The E-mini will be moving off of its highs. Otherwise, that 13 or better, I think, really, really looks like a good place to get long. Basically, the 3-year auction is why we're buying it. No other reason. Okay, the knob spread came in today. I had us at 2 o'clock when the day session closed at 11:05. So it's narrowing. That might give us a little more room to get long the 30-year. So we've got this breakout here at 20, and we're at 21, and then we had the last rotate down in D, stopped at 11. So we got a shot at 13s to 17s, but again, it may take 21s to get in. Don't know. If the E-mini rallies and closes strong, I think we'll get our 13s to 17s. And we'll make it 5 to 9 for buy 2. On the upside, we're at 22 right now. Last rotate up stopped at 25, so 27 to 31, sell 1. And then 3 to 7 for sell 2. Okay, gold never really did get pounded today. It held up. I thought we had a shot at 1305. I still do. I think the market is pointed lower, but our number 2 support band was 8 to 10, and we didn't really take it out. The trade of the day in gold was, as we called it, sell the 15 to 17 area. We had a high just over 15, so that was really a good trade. Didn't have a lot of volatility in gold. Market didn't move nearly as well as crude did today. Jimmy, where did you have that up on the weekend, on Friday? Was it 11.16, I think you said? Maybe it was 11.12. I forgot to write it down. So we got a very, very clean break here at 12 to 13. And you got an E period high, then we got an F period high. So resistance is this 10 to 13 area. So that's sell 1. Sell 2 is 15 to 17. I don't think the Ukraine and Russia are going to come apart at the seams. We'll put our first buy down here at 3 to 5, play for a little lower. And then if we bust that area, I think we got a pretty good shot at our 95, 98 area for buy 2. Okay, crude oil today moved well. Jimmy just bought the new Windows 8 system. If you're a retail account and a little typing, a little web surfing, a little internet, playing movies, videos, and the rest of it, they say Windows 8 is pretty good. But if you're into heavy-duty software and used to operating and running it the way you used to run it, then Windows 8 is going to give you some fits. Looks pretty good on the iPhones and on the, not on the iPhones, but on the phones. What's the Nokia phone? And their pads, but which is what it was developed for. It was developed for touch the screen interface. So this is the first iteration. It may take them a couple of 3 times to get it right. In software business, the damnedest business in the world, you can put out a product with known defects in it to increase your revenues, and then as they get reported and the rest of it, you can come back in and repair them as need be. Okay, we have a distribution lower, then in K period we started back up. So the last rotate up was 75, maybe stops above the day session high. So I mean, we're looking at a 50 to 75 sell 1. Maybe a little higher, maybe get closer to 75, then we'll go 100, 100 and a quarter like we were this morning. Actually, it was 125 to 50, and we just touched it up here in Z period. So this was the complex to trade today. We're at 42, 99 held. Last rotate down was 99.06. I don't want to pay quarters, so why don't we make it 99 plus or minus for buy 1. And then our 98.50 for buy 2. And it'll be tied to the news out of Ukraine, how bad the fighting is. And you have to wonder what spurred the IMF to act. No loan unless you keep the eastern Ukraine. Ironically, that's probably keeping Russia on a short leash till they can get the $17 billion and they'll go in and do what they wanted to do. I don't know how you call the euro. We didn't have a lot of action today. We wanted to sell 75s to 85s. The high was 85 last time I looked. Was this morning too. Volume has moved higher in the distribution, but not by a heck of a lot. So I think we're where we have been. There's a seller above 38.75 in the 39. Sometimes it'll get a little higher, but it can't hold that. So why don't we move our sell zone up to maybe 85 to 95 right here. Try to catch that. Maybe a little higher overnight. And then we'll make it 39.05 to 39.15 for sell 2. I'm going to make 50 to 60 buy 1. If the market's stronger than I think it is, we're going to have to pay 75s to get in. And 25 to 35 for buy 2. And that's all I have for May the 5th. Cinco de Mayo. I imagine there'll be a lot of beer consumed in the Latino enclaves. That was the purpose of this holiday.